And everybody, Trish Jenkins here, reading from Treasures of Darkness, A Prison Journey. And I'm just doing a couple of pages of after the sentencing when I went down to the cells on Thursday, the January 22nd, 2009. So it was just that afternoon. I was led by a strangely handsome officer. I don't know why I noticed that. I guess I was looking for normality. Through a side door in the wall. I didn't even see that there was a door. It was just an opening in the wall of the courthouse paneling inside. Through a door and into a hallway, and I thought he can't really be my jailer. He's too good looking and he seems kind, like a normal person. He asked me if I were okay, and I knew I had to present calmly. So I took a few deep breaths and I said, I'm okay, I'm just a bit overwhelmed. And he said, this is where I have to handcuff you. He said, I could tell he was gauging how difficult I might become. I'd never seen handcuffs up close before, uh, and now they were put on my own wrists, and they felt heavy and possessive. My hands looked frail and tiny. Another officer with a moustache came to escort me down an elevator. He said, don't be afraid. You're going to be searched by two ladies, and it's not like in the movies. Well, visions of Nicole Kidman in Bangkok Hilton being probed for hidden drugs in her nether regions flashed through my mind. I repeated silently to myself, think of it as a pap smear. Pretend it's just a pap smear. Fortunately, the strip search did not involve touching, and the ladies were quite sympathetic. I could put my top back on before removing my bottoms, so I was not completely naked at any one time. I was required to bend forward and shake out my hair. You've got to do that. And open my mouth and lift my arms. So, lift up the tongue, lift up your arms. And some women are asked to lift their breasts, but there was no need in my case. I was then instructed to turn around and lift each foot and spread my toes of all things. I wondered how anybody could conceal contraband between their toes, but they were looking for needle marks. That struck me as funny. I had remembered to bring my prescription and my mouth guard in its pink container in my pocket. My dentist had it made because I grind my teeth in my sleep when stressed. There'd been plenty of stress. These were taken from me and recorded along with two very sad-looking ladies' handkerchiefs. The prescription medication would be distributed by an officer at the specified time, but I was not allowed to have the mouth guard. They wouldn't tell me when I might get it back, perhaps in 8 months. I had removed my wedding and engagement rings before coming to court because I didn't trust the system with their safekeeping. I had no idea what level of corruption existed, if any, but I wasn't taking any chances with something so personal. And besides, I didn't want them tainted by contact with the prison system. The strip search ladies advised me, do your own time. When you go to the cells, you don't have to tell anybody why you're there. Don't ask questions, keep to yourself. Don't give any personal details about where you live or your family, and you don't want them visiting your home when they get out. Great. By nature, I'm a gregarious sticky beak who will try to rescue the lost and fix the world's problems, and this did not sound promising. I resolved to try to be discreet, like Joseph in prison before he became 2IC of Egypt, I thought. They asked me if I was afraid of people in prison. Afraid? Who wouldn't be? But I was cluey enough to ask for clarity on that one, and they answered, does anyone have it in for you? Do you want to be segregated in the protection unit or go into general population? Oh, general please. I had enough sense to guess that it would be better to join the main group than be with people who were despised even by the rest of the prison population. These might be child abusers or partners of pedophiles or those who had made enemies in the criminal world. Or they might be frightened, naive women who wanted extra protection. I was taken to a holding cell. It had bright orange bars. My shoes had to remain outside the cell. Strangely, that morning, after imagining a cold prison cell, I decided to wear socks. I was grateful now. The cell was about 10 feet by 10, a solid block bench merged with the back wall, and there was a metal toilet without a seat, which sat behind a half wall, and there was a little sink with a bubbler activated by a button. So the bench, so the wall came down, it just came out and down, and then the toilet just had a little low wall to shield it, but it wasn't really much shielding. No toilet paper. Do I ask for it if needed? Will they give me some or mock me and make me suffer? Eventually I had to ask, and they brought it straight away. I wondered if they brought it to comply with a duty of care issue or because badly behaved guests can make a mess in the cell. These were unpleasant imaginings. Did I mention the camera up on the ceiling? I waited for what seemed an eternity. It was the first of many waiting times. Lunch arrived, sandwiches and a little box of pineapple juice with a straw, those little poppers, little boxes. My request for a soothing hot cup of tea was refused. I was not to see one for a week. I hadn't realised how much I depended on my cuppa. I was waiting for a prison van to pick me up and escort me a short distance to the Roma Street watch house. I had heard awful things about the infamous watch house. However, I became so bored that I looked forward to the van's arrival. While I waited in the stark cell, I practiced controlling my thoughts so I wouldn't panic. I sang to keep my spirits up, and I discovered a radio speaker with a button on the wall, so I pressed it, hoping to hear the time or the news. I couldn't see a clock. Instead, I listened to tinny music and eventually I danced on my own. Looking back, I think my mind had shut down, refusing to accept the gravity of the situation. I didn't care that a camera was on me. I had to do something that would normally make me happy. So I danced in my socks and my suit with its broken fly. An officer announced the arrival of the prison van. They don't like being referred to as guards. I don't know why. Perhaps it sounds more respectable. Handcuffed again, but reunited with my shoes, I was led out through security doors. On the way, I noticed a clock. It was only 2:45 p.m. A sliding door opened on the side of the van and I stepped up into a small metal room with two pairs of seats, one facing another. A camera watched me slyly from on high behind a big, dark perspex triangle. No seatbelts. Is it the risk to health and safety from a road accident less than the risk to health and safety from a seatbelt turned into a weapon? I would ponder many such incongruencies as the system unfolded before me. Hi, Ian. Hi, Linda. Coconuts. Thanks for joining me. Nearly finished with this one. As the door slammed shut, I flashed back to an amusement park ride. You'd like this, Linda. It reminds me of Dreamworld. An amusement park ride where the attendant slams down the protective bar so you don't fall out. With the handcuffs affecting my balance, I bounced around, jerking back and forward and side at the whim of the traffic. It was a bit scary. I pretended I was on such a ride until the exhaust fumes crept in and made me feel nauseous. I remembered reading about the Nazis killing Jews by turning the exhaust pipes back into the trucks filled with people, driving until they choked to death. Not a comforting picture. Through the small barred window, I watched familiar landmarks pass by. It was a short trip from the George Street Courthouse to the Roma Street Watch House. The van wheeled down a driveway and pulled up. A large roller door descended in front, while another trapped us behind. Cave-like. It's amazing how the imagination sparks things from movies and books and history, and just reach out and make these comparisons. Well, there I was in the cave. And that's where I'll leave this one. Tomorrow I'll read about 5 nights and 6 days in the Roma Street Watch House. My goodness, that was another world. All right, so I'm going to go up and make dinner now, and I look forward to being with you tomorrow. Take care. Bye.